Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Stretching Your Lead Generation Budget with Lead Nurturing, brought to you by Goose Digital. A quick overview of what we will be covering during the next 30 minutes. We'll start off with some introductions. We'll touch on the evolution of marketing and then dive into insurance business drivers of marketing automation. We'll then talk about lead nurture for the insurance industry and provide you with some strategies to help you get started. Following that, we will discuss some key performance indicators that you're going to want to measure with your lead nurturing strategies. And then we'll do a quick demonstration in a marketing automation platform to show you how to bring those strategies to life. We'll follow up that and finish up our webinar with some Q&A. So if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, I invite you to go ahead and drop them into the questions section in the control panel. We will do our best to answer all the questions during the webinar, but anything we don't get to, someone from Goose Digital will follow up with you directly. A reminder that everyone who's registered for the webinar will be receiving a link to the recording within the next couple of days. I'm Robin Kroll, and I'll be your moderator for today. I lead the Data and Insights practice here at Goose Digital. Today, I will be joined by Jen Pugsley. Jen is our VP of Customer Success. And along with Jen's deep expertise in marketing automation, she also brings over 13 years experience in the insurance industry. Also with us is Mark Finnegan. Mark manages the partnerships here at Goose, and he also runs all our marketing, including our lead nurturing strategies. A bit about Goose. Goose is Canada's leading marketing automation agency. Our expertise spans across the world's best marketing automation platforms, helping brokers, carriers, and MGAs strategically plan and execute profitable digital marketing. We believe that the marketing automation platform is at the very center of all modern marketing departments, and it's really fundamental to executing a successful digital marketing strategy. We do work with other industries, such as financial services, technology, and manufacturing. And we find that this enables us to bring other best practices and innovations into the insurance industry. Goose is a full-service digital agency, and we've been focusing on the insurance industry for about the last 5 years. Our technology strategy is to partner with best-of-breed platforms across the entire MarTech stack. These companies are all recognized leaders in their respective sectors. They continuously invest in new features and functionality, which ensure our clients that they are able to be at the forefront of their digital marketing. We've been really involved with the insurance industry for several years now, and we see this participation is very important for many reasons. From a continued learning perspective, our ability to gather information on trends and share those with our customers, but also because this industry really does like to have a lot of fun. And we've really enjoyed the customers and partners that we've met over the years. We miss seeing so many of your faces at live events, and we're crossing our fingers that we'll be able to see some of you in person or at least virtually later this year. It's no secret that marketing has evolved. Thanks to the digital revolution that's been underway for at least 10 years now, marketing's ability to impact and influence audiences has never been greater. Marketing now has the tools to reach and address both leads and customers across the entire buying journey. So that means starting from an initial awareness of your company and products and services, to an active sales opportunity, and through to in-life customer communications. Lead generation continues to provide tremendous opportunity for carriers, MGAs, and brokers to drive new business. And lead nurturing has become critical for maximizing investments and leading to success. I'm now going to hand off to Jen Pugsley, who will share some of the opportunities that lead nurture strategies represent.
Thank you, Robin. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So as a quick refresher, I'm going to touch on some of the key business drivers for marketing automation within the insurance industry. So on the left-hand side, we've got sales. So things like lead generation, focusing on lead quality through targeting, lead capture, qualifying and scoring, and into lead nurturing, which is our topic for today. Over on the right-hand side, we expand into customer touchpoints throughout the customer lifecycle. These can really be designed to flow with the current service timeline that you've built for your company. So for example, things like new customer notices, renewal campaigns, cross-selling growth, onto things like bulletins, claims notifications, webinars, or stages where you need to gather feedback. Then down into the center, we have data and insights. For many, this has become a top driver. Marketing automation platforms provide a 360 view of your prospect and customers by tracking their behavior and connecting data from all different sources. This is so you can understand what is working, how to optimize, and also provides the insights needed to create nurture programs. So still 61% of marketers rank lead generation as their #1 challenge. Marketing automation platforms principally were built to handle leads in all of their various paths. In the later years, though, expanded across the entire customer journey. Still, we're seeing that driving quality leads and converting those leads into sales remains a top priority and also the greatest challenge for many insurance providers today. So why is this? Well, over 50% of leads are actually qualified, but they're just not ready to buy. There's a major focus on driving qualified leads in this industry, sifting through the quote unquote tire kickers, but often marketing teams forget to build nurture programs for the ones that are quality, but they're just not ready. 25% of leads are legitimate and should advance to sales. So what this is really saying is that a big part of a marketer's job is to build technology-enabled marketing programs that identify and nurture and then feed sales only the leads that are deemed ready. And that's probably around 25% of what you're currently generating today. Lastly, 79% of marketing leads actually never convert into a sale. A lack of nurturing these leads is the common cause of why they actually don't develop and are largely left behind. So let's just quickly touch on the online model, because not all leads, particularly some personal insurance products or small commercial products, will be driven to a person, but rather driven to an e-commerce platform to hopefully quote and then convert into a sale. So as we know, there are products that lend themselves well to the online model, but that doesn't mean that those leads are going to convert on the first transaction or even the second. In fact, one-click conversions are very rare in any e-commerce business, and with online insurance products, it's even more rare. The expectation of one-click conversions was high over the last few years in this industry. And the reality is there's a whole lot more that goes into those conversions and making them happen. Nurture programs are a big part of it. So nurtured leads produce 20% more qualified sales opportunities. So I'm going to share a few key important things to note when you're crafting your nurture campaigns. Number one, incorporate stages of your campaign that help you understand buying intent. So Mark's going to cover that today a little bit in the demo, but that's a really important one for you to try to assess. Build timely, data-driven follow-ups across multiple channels. So some of those stages are going to include during your quote-to-close sales cycles, even more important when you have like a lengthy underwriting process for some of your product lines. Revisit quotes that did not close the previous year, that whole try us again approach. keeping the prospect updated with the right message at the right time. And with this one, it's a good thing to note to not treat your non-opener email strategy the same way you would your strategic nurture strategy. And again, we'll show you that in the platform. And lastly, make sure you're collecting the right data, because you're going to use this data both for insights and your future targeting. So nurture strategies. There are two things that you can do now that'll help you build your nurture strategy. Number one, if you haven't really done this already, define what a marketing qualified lead and a sales qualified lead mean for your business. So a bit of a definition here. While a sales qualified lead has been researched and vetted by your marketing department and is ready to talk to sales, or by all accounts is at a stage of sale, a marketing qualified lead is a lead who has engaged with your company and could become a customer if nurtured correctly. So that's a good exercise, and you don't need technology to kind of build that one out. The second would be whiteboard out your lead to close stages to help you identify the best opportunities for nurturing your leads to customers across the entire buying journey. Your strategy will be a multi-pronged approach to how you nurture leads. Mark, again, will show you a couple examples today, but some of those are going to include quote follow-ups with key benefits, gathering feedback and alerting sales, incentive and win-back strategies. I think the biggest key takeaway here is that nurture opportunities become visible during journey building exercises, even if you're doing that with a whiteboard or a pen and paper. So this one's a bit of a bonus. Keep an automated eye on bad leads. Unqualified today doesn't really mean unqualified tomorrow, and this provides another opportunity to nurture. You can do this by tracking lead scores for all of your leads, including the ones that are not qualified. Then filter out those leads that have very high scores and send them back to marketing to requalify them. If they meet your needs or they meet your qualifications, you can add them into your nurture streams or create a specific branch particularly for that bucket. So KPIs along the marketing journey. So what are some of the KPIs to monitor in this stage? So the number one objective of any nurture campaign is to continue to warm up marketing qualified leads to become sales qualified. This is typically referenced as a middle funnel tactic, but it does overlap to your top funnel tactics. So some typical KPIs and conversions that you want to watch in this stage are going to be email opt-ins, landing page conversions, and things like direct request, on to the more obvious ones like leads that request a quote, leads that received a quote, submission status depending on your product line. Make sure you capture your abandoned quote rates at this stage as well. And then ultimately conversions and sales qualified, or rather conversions on ready to buy leads. So I'm going to turn this over to Mark Finnegan, and he's going to take you through a few live examples of lead nurturing campaigns within a marketing automation platform. Keep in mind your nurture strategy can branch out to as many different streams or tactics that fit your business, and they will evolve over time as you find new opportunities and you optimize your existing flows. Take it away, Mark.
Thanks, Jen and Robin, and good afternoon, everyone. So as Jen mentioned, in this demo, I'm going to walk you through some marketing automation efforts you can add to your digital marketing process that will enable you to really stretch your lead generation budget with some lead nurturing and really ultimately enhance your conversions for any given lead gen campaign that you're running. So some examples that I'm going to walk you through today are landing pages with smart forms, a simple quote reminder program, and a simple win back program. Now, before I get started, I just want everyone to keep in mind everything that's actually been built that I'm going to show you today is actually built inside of Acton, but it can really be built in any of the marketing automation platforms that you're working today. Nothing is unique to Acton specifically here. all of the content that you're seeing as well is fictitious, including the brand Wing Insurance. It was all made for today's demonstration. So let's start off with landing pages and smart forms. So the main thing that you want when you're building one of these landing pages, and I do recommend that you stick to a landing page rather than a page on your website, because they are proven to convert better, is just making sure that the message is clear and that it aligns with all of the ads that you're running, whether it's on social media or Google, etc. You want to have a really strong call to action. Having a brief short video on the landing page will really help as well, and really kind of adds credibility to what you're offering, including frequently asked questions and other things such as certifications or awards or testimonials will go a long way in helping with your conversions. But one thing that I do want to mention, though, is that what we have been seeing lately is that bare bone landing pages or e-commerce funnels that do not have enough trust building content are less likely to convert. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The next thing that you want to take advantage of in these marketing automation platforms, though, is really the smart forms. And this just allows you to further qualify the leads and help you properly prioritize and route them accordingly within your organization. So let me just show you how that actually works. So I'll put in my information here. You can see that's all started to populate. And now I'm going to actually answer the qualifying question. So I'm going to select the industry type advertising agency that's applicable to me. And now you can see the qualifying questions actually popped up, any prior information breaches. So based on how I answer this question and then submit the form, you can actually then, inside of the marketing automation platform, prioritize how you want that lead to be handled. Whether it's no longer an interest to you or it is a hot lead based on how they've answered that question. If you're currently operating with an e-commerce tool, consider using a branded form like we're showing you here to help with lead quality. And I do want to emphasize that integration with your broker management system or your CRM can be done as well, so that leads can flow into these platforms too. So when you're starting to think of a quote reminder program, the key things that you want to start with are really your list segmentation. So if you can see my screen here, what we've actually identified is all of our cyber leads, and that segment there is what is going to be our source list for the quote reminder program. The next thing you want to think about is any kind of secondary kind of segments that you would want for certain kind of situations, or like an early exit condition. So in the case that they do bind while they're in the middle of the program, you want to make sure that they can exit the program immediately. Once you have all of your necessary segmentation in place, the next thing that you want to actually start to think about is the flow of your automated program. So here is a rough example of what a quote reminder program could look like. When reviewing this, keep in mind, this is not the be all end all. This is just an example. So you can make a program that is much more complex or even more simple if you think it's better. It's just coming up with what you think is obviously ideal for your business. So if you recall, so what I said is we're bringing all cyber leads into this program. You might be asking that why we only want people that have been quoted and haven't binded yet. Well, you're going to let the program actually do that work of figuring out who has been binded based on the segments that you created. So we have people enter the program. What we're doing is giving them 2 days to decide what they want to do with that original quote that they received. And then the program is actually looking to see, did they bind or not? If they didn't bind, they will get the first quote reminder. And if they did bind, they will immediately exit the program. And I'll actually show you what an example of one of these emails look like in just a bit. The other thing I want to mention with Acton in particular, they're actually rolling out an SMS feature right now. So you can actually use SMS in your automated programs as well, not just email. So it could be a mix and match, or it could just be all SMS messages if you wanted it to be. The choice is really yours. and what you think is going to help you with your conversions. So after that first quote reminder email, the next stage we have here is really just a wait 1 week period to see what kind of happens. We're waiting until a specific time of day, and then we're checking again to see if after that first quote reminder, did they exit the program, or sorry, did they bind or not? If they did bind, then we're going to again obviously have them exit the program. And if they didn't, we're going to send them our second quote reminder after that week period. And when you're building these programs, this is the thing that you want to think about is really your cadence. There's no real right answers to this. It's figuring out what works for your audience and just kind of looking at your open rates, your click-through rates, and ultimately your conversions, and making the tweaks that you think will help with those improvements. Subject titles and obviously your call to actions and content in these emails will help too. So it's really just trying to get a good sense of what is and what isn't working for you. So after that second quote reminder email, we actually have a two-week wait period. And then if they didn't bind, they're getting a third and final quote reminder. And again, so we all know that quotes are typically good for 90 days. But the thing is, after a few quote reminders, if they haven't done anything with it, there's a high chance that they're probably not going to. So again, you can kind of play around with trying to do it, but to me, I think it's really the first few weeks is where you're trying to get people those reminders. Towards the end of that 90 days, I think it's less likely, but by all means, it doesn't hurt to try. So let's take a look at what one of these quote reminder emails actually looks like. So this is a very basic one actually here on my screen. And you can see all the personalization that we're going to be pulling in here. So we're going to be pulling in first name, all the quote details. And this is all information that is going to be pulled in from either a form submission or from your BMS or from your CRM. So let's take a look at actually how this looks for a prospect. So I select Eddie here. You can see now that Eddie's information, his first name has been brought in and all of his quote details. Below that, you can actually see now a kind of a clear call to action. Are you still interested in this quote? And we've given Eddie two options here. So the first one's the yes, I'm still interested. And the second one, no, I'm no longer interested. So if he hits the I'm no longer interested, what that would do is just send an alert and it would have him immediately exit this program and we would thank him for his time. But if he hits yes, I am still interested, what this would do is submit a hidden form submission on Eddie's behalf with all of his pertinent details around his quote details and his contact information and trigger an alert email. That can either go to like our CSR team, or it could go into like a queue system if you wanted. And I'll show you just like what one of those alert emails would look like. So it's pretty basic. It just gives you kind of the key details of what this alert is, the contact information for Eddie, and that he is still interested in purchasing this cyber insurance. The other great thing with these emails is that you can also automate and personalize by your CSRs as well. So you can see here that Eddie has actually been dealing with George Lucas, but if I change it to another customer here, Renata, you can see that she's actually been working with Joe Smith and all of his details come in. So you can definitely personalize that. So again, just to reiterate, like I said, this is just an example. To me, you may have a kind of a different kind of program in mind that you want to run in terms of quote reminders. And we're absolutely happy to help with that if you have some other ideas in mind that this doesn't quite meet. So the next example I wanted to show you is really around win-back campaigns. And so I think Robin actually alluded to it earlier, is that the lead isn't always lost, is something that you need to keep in mind. And you're really only ever converting roughly about 20% of the leads that you're generating. And so what can you do about those leads that have been lost in the past? And what you can actually start to identify in your marketing automation platforms is leads that you had quoted in the past but didn't necessarily bind. So you can see this segment here that I've actually built out, and it says cyber leads quoted 9 months ago did not bind. And that's, I'll show you the back end of how this segment actually works. So you can see here it's based off of 2 pieces of criteria. So it's the quote request date has to equal exactly 9 months ago, and then the status does not equal bound or qualified out. So the first bit of criteria there is dynamic. And what that means is anyone that's in this segment today will not be in this segment tomorrow. It's just constantly updating as the days pass. And using this type of segment as the source list for a win-back program allows you to just ensure anyone that reaches that milestone of 9 months from the last time that you actually quoted them can go into this program. And then with that second piece, making sure that the status does not equal bound or qualified just also ensures that they meet that criteria to enter the program. So let's take a look at what that actual program would actually look like. Again, this is just a rough example, but the first thing that we recommend if you're going to do a win-back program is to actually have a change status for a lot of these people, because most of them will be probably quoted, and you actually want to update them to something else to know that they're part of a new and change program. So in our example here, it's change status to requote. After that, we're waiting until a weekday between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. and then the first email that we're going to send them is a reminder, which I'll show you in a bit. But it's just to give us another chance. It's reiterating who we are and what we previously offered them. We're waiting a week, and we're actually seeing if the prospect's been requoted or bound. If the prospect does end up being requoted, they'll immediately exit the program. And if they don't, what we're doing is we're actually waiting that week period, and then we're sending them a second email. This second email I would recommend to be more of an incentive. So in our case here, we're having them enter for a chance to win. That could be a trip or a gift card, you kind of name it. Again, kind of give a week space out after that email, see what happens. If they still haven't been requoted or bound, we're sending them a third and final email to not miss out on the best coverage for the best price. Again, it doesn't have to be 3 emails. You can make this as many or as little emails as you want. The important things are really to be looking at your open rates, your click-through rates, and just seeing what's working and what's not. You don't want to inundate people, and you don't want to come off like you're harassing them. So it's just it's figuring out what that right balance is for your business and for your audience. So let's take a look at what one of these win-back emails would actually look like. So again, this is just a simple HTML email, and what we're going to be doing is pulling in the prospect's first name and the policy type that they were previously quoted for. So if I bring in Jennifer Pugsley here, you can see Jennifer's personalization has now come in, and that we previously quoted her for cyber and technology 9 months ago. So we're just giving her a reminder of that, and we're just seeing if she's still interested in receiving a new quote from us, assuming that she's probably 3 months away from renewing with another company. And then we're giving her 2 call to actions here. So yes, I'd like a new quote, or no, I'm not interested. So if she hits that again, that no, I'm not interested, it would thank her for her time. It would exit her from the program, and we could even update her status to not even bother following up with her again in the future if that's something that we felt was necessary. The yes, I would like a new quote would act similar to the one that I showed you before, where it could be a hidden form submission. An alert goes to the CSR or a queue system, so that person can be followed up with as soon as possible. And then you can see the CSR that she previously worked with as well. So the other thing that I wanted to highlight though is that for prioritizing these leads, the other thing that a lot of these marketing automation platforms have is the ability to score your leads with behavior scoring. So if I jump into Jennifer's profile here, this is something that some of you may be familiar with, is you kind of get this summary contact report. So on the left hand side here, you can see Jennifer's overall behavior score, and then on the right you can see a mixture of all of the marketing assets that we have, that Jennifer has interacted with in order to get that score. And so you can see it's a combination of emails, clicks and opens, visiting website pages, search, our social media. You can see obviously she's not too interested in, but everything else she's definitely interacted with, and that's building that score. And what you can do with that behavior score is, let's say anyone that is reaching a behavior score of 40, we know is a highly engaged lead, is most likely sales qualified. We can actually trigger alerts as well off of those behavior scores. So that's something to really keep in mind too when you're starting to build these programs, is you can build out alerts based on behavior scores as well. All right, so to summarize, this is really just a few examples of how you can stretch your lead generation budget with lead nurturing using marketing automation. If you have your own ideas, but you're not exactly sure how to execute them within your own marketing automation platforms, please definitely give us a call or send us an email, and we'd be happy to help. I'll now turn it over to Robin to bring up any questions that were asked.
Great. Thank you, Mark. And thank you, Jen. So many amazing ways that you can use lead nurturing to really, really optimize your lead gen. I realize we're going to go a couple minutes over, but we've got a couple of questions. So I thought we would go ahead and try and squeeze them in. So our first question is, should you be driving your leads to a landing page or directly to your website? Jen, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure, Robin. So all leads typically should drive to a dedicated landing page. This is the highest chance for you to build trust and get that conversion. Even if the only conversion that you're getting and the only question that you're asking is for an email or an SMS opt-in, that is definitely a win. If you're operating an e-commerce website as part of your offering, you could do an A/B test and send half the group there, half the group to a landing page, but typically the landing pages outperform the direct drop into the e-commerce funnel, and that's because there's a commitment. There could be a download of mobile apps, and again, it goes back to that the more trust that you can build early on and get that level of interest, potentially even buying intent, the better off you're gonna be with converting that lead.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so I've got another one here. How many emails should you actually be sending to a prospect? So I think, Mark, you talked a little bit about that. So why don't you grab that question?
Yeah, sure. So to me, I don't think there's a precise answer for that. When you're building out one of these programs, to me, I think it's really a minimum of 3. But I think the important thing to kind of take into consideration is, are the communications that you're sending like adding value? Are they really kind of selling something that they didn't already see? If it's doing that, then that's important. It's then kind of measuring your email performance, whether it's looking at, like I said before, your open rates, your conversion rates, looking at the time of day you're sending. So if you're not really getting good open rates, maybe it's the time of day you're sending it. It could be sending in the evenings instead of mornings, could be sending on the weekends instead of weekdays. Testing all of these things, I think, is really important to really get a good sense of what will help improve your conversion rates.
Yeah, some great advice, Mark. And Mark, you spent a lot of time really sharing what a lead journey looks like. So there's a question here. How often should you be reassessing or optimizing your lead journey?
Yeah, I think it's something that you need to be actively monitoring. To me, I think a lot more of the monitoring needs to probably take place in the first few months. I'd say maybe 3 to 6 months of running a program, and just making sure that the open rates and click through rates kind of align with other communications that you're sending. If they're not aligned, it's making the necessary adjustments to kind of get them there. It's once you're actually really starting to get comfortable with what your open rates, click through rates, and the conversion rate that you're ultimately getting, that's when you can kind of leave these programs more alone and just kind of let them run.
That's great. Thank you, Mark. All right, so we've got a couple minutes over, so I think we're going to wrap up here. But on behalf of myself, Jen and Mark, thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope you've got some great takeaways from the webinar. And don't forget to look into your inbox in the next couple of days, where you'll be getting a message with a link to the recording to today's webinar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.